So someone asked about differentiating benign forms, and by benign I mean physiologic forms of nystagmus from the pathologic forms of nystagmus. And so the most common benign physiologic form of nystagmus we see is horizontal end gaze nystagmus. So it's like end gaze. And so when we look to extremes of right or lateral gaze or left gaze, the eye might develop a jerk beating horizontal nystagmus towards that gaze position. It usually is not sustained, it just fatigues. And if you just come a few degrees towards primary or return to primary, it should stop. So a few beats of end gaze, horizontal gaze evoked nystagmus is a form of physiologic nystagmus. It's not pathologic if it doesn't persist, if it stops right away and it's not present in primary position. There are other forms of nystagmus that are benign. One is voluntary nystagmus, where the person can actually induce the nystagmus. Usually it takes a big convergence effort for them to do that, and they get what looks like nystagmus, but probably isn't. And that's a physiologic, benign, voluntary form of nystagmus. The pathologic nystagmuses are everything else, and you should consider nystagmus to be pathologic until proven otherwise, other than these gaze evoked normal and the voluntary nystagmus. You can induce nystagmus in people with various maneuvers, but usually those things require like cold or warm water put into your ear. These are physiologic responses, but they require stimulus. So if you have primary position nystagmus, it's probably pathologic. If you have sustained nystagmus, even if you go to the right and left, it's persistent after you come back a few degrees, that's also pathologic. And as opposed to the voluntary nystagmus, which is intermittent, requires a convergence effort, and then spontaneously resolves, any persistence of primary position nystagmus is also pathologic.